We all believe that sooner or later we will land on Mars, and once that first human step is printed on the surface, it will begin a new era of opportunities. SpaceX founder Elon Musk believes that the colonization of Mars could take place in 20 to 30 years. The technology for this is available, and it's only a question of time before we send the first people there. According to the billionaire, the first visit to the red planet will be followed by the creation of a base and even a city. NASA, for its part, says it will send people to Mars in the 2030s. According to a number of researchers, in 100 to 150 years, flights to the red planet will be frequent, and many people will live there permanently. We hope that all these plans become true and one day we can book a vacation there. We are sure that once the flights get cheap enough, tourism on the red planet will be a real hit. For this reason, we have researched the biggest landmarks that future tourists may see on Mars. At first glance, the planet is very different, but a closer look reveals that it resembles many places on Earth. Let's start with our first stop, which will be the North Pole. This ice cap is larger than the state of Texas and is mostly made up of water ice and solid carbon dioxide, commonly known as dry ice, as opposed to icebergs. It is unclear whether it is possible to build snowmen or throw snowballs on Mars, or whether doing so would be harmful to your spacesuit, but the contrast between a white surface and a reddish-brown sky will be quite surreal and beautiful. The North and South Poles, on the other hand, are appealing not only for the chances to participate in winter sports and organize photo gliders. A 20-kilometer-long liquid water lake has been discovered in the South Pole of Mars, according to radar measurements. The lake is 1.5 kilometers deep and is covered by a layer of frozen carbon dioxide, as well as Martian dust and sand, and it is located 1.5 kilometers below the surface of the planet. This indicates that it is shielded from cosmic radiation and fulfills the requirements for the possibility of the presence of life forms. According to NASA, there are also analogous lakes on Earth, which may be found beneath the icy surface of Greenland and Antarctica, as well as on the Moon. The most well-known is Lake Vostok, which is approximately 4 kilometers below the icy surface of Antarctica and is the world's deepest lake. Despite the fact that the Vostok has been buried under a thick layer of ice for at least 25 million years, it is still alive and home to microorganisms that are uncommon on the rest of the Earth. It is Lake Vostok that offers proof that life has existed for as long as there has been liquid water under thick ice, and that it can thrive in such liquid water. In addition to Mars, liquid water under the ice may be discovered on the moons of Jupiter and Saturn, including Europa and Enceladus. No voyage to Mars would be complete without a stop at Olympus Mons, the highest mountain in the solar system. The planet has several other mountains and they are all volcanic in nature. However, the winner is Olympus Mons and rises to a height of 22 kilometers or 72,000 feet. The area of the volcano is comparable to that of France or the state of Arizona, and its ascent would be extremely easy, but long due to its gradually descending slopes. 3 times the height of Mount Everest, it has enough space to contain all of the volcanoes on the Hawaiian Islands. There are several other volcanoes on Mars that are over 10,000 meters high. There are also high mountains, which are formed as a result of fallen molten Martian mass, as well as those formed as a result of erosion. Interestingly, sometimes almost all of Mars is covered by sandstorms, and the only places not affected by dust are high volcanoes. It would be very exciting for future tourists to watch the sandstorms while staying undisturbed at the highest places in the solar system. Vales Marineris is our next visit, and this is the name of the largest canyon in the solar system. It stretches for 4,000 kilometers. In some places, the width reaches 200 kilometers, but there are also much narrower sections. The depth is 7 kilometers. Interestingly, the canyon is often sometimes covered with water ice, speculating that there may still be water below its surface. These claims are supported by the recent discovery of liquid water flowing down parts of the canyon slopes. From a scientific point of view, Vales Marineris is very curious, and some believe that there is a good place to build a base. The canyon is more protected and possibly has water deposits. Perhaps it will not be a surprise if in time the first hotel on the red planet turns out to be somewhere in Vales Marineris. The Black Dunes at the foot of Mount Sharp will be our next stop. The rover Curiosity landed on Mars in August 2012 and has since revealed stunning views of Bacquerel Crater and the 5,000-meter-high Sharp Mountain. The rover captured curious black dunes and landscapes reminiscent of both terrestrial and alien. The black dunes in the crater arouse great interest. It is known that their fine sand is extremely sharp. A walk around the area would be extreme in a spacesuit. However, the view of the blue sunrises and sunsets over the nearby mountain slopes would be unique. We will stop at the famous Kasei Valles as well. This giant system of canyons in the Mare Acidalium and Lunae Palus quadrangles on Mars is 1,580 kilometers or 980 miles long and was named after the word for Mars in Japanese. This is one of the largest outflow channel systems on Mars. Like other outflow channels, they were likely carved by liquid water from ancient rivers. In comparison to the Grand Canyon, it is a massive system of chasms 5 times longer and 10 times wider, and scientists believe it formed in a similar way. Mountains and valleys like this one are likely to have formed billions of years ago when Mars was warmer and covered with liquid water. Mawrth Vallis is another valley nearby that has a completely different appearance from the one we visited before due to the numerous layers of clay that cover the ground. It is worth visiting only to see how different it is. During Mars' shift from a warm, rainy climate to a colder, drier one over millennia, it is predicted that they evolved into what we see now. According to NASA experts, these might include information on the history of liquid water on Mars as well as the possibility of early life on the planet. It is one of the most ancient valleys on Mars, and it is also one of the scariest and strange places on the red planet. The existence of minerals in Mawrth Vallis is of particular significance due to the fact that they can only develop if there is sufficient water present. Beyond its natural splendor, the location might be home to a wealth of information about Mars's past history. Another place that NASA believes may have been teeming with life a long time ago is Bacquerel Crater, which we will explore on our next outing. As a result of the presence of sulfate rocks that are identical to those present on Earth and that form when the water evaporates, scientists have concluded that this crater was once a large lake more than 160 kilometers wide. In the following stop on the journey, you'll find yourself in Iani Chaos. This is a type of landscape that cannot be found anywhere else. This unique geological structure, which stretches over 200 kilometers, is made up of a maze of rocky cliffs and pillar-like hills known as mesas, and scientists are baffled as to how these one-of-a-kind formations came to be. As we go southward, we will be able to glimpse the Promethei Planum. The South Pole is visible in the distance, and it is covered in a sheet of ice that is roughly 1.5 times the thickness of the East Antarctic ice sheet. A plane can be seen near the South Pole from a distance. Rabe Crater is the next stop on our tour. This area is surrounded by massive sand dunes that rise 150 to 200 meters above the surface as high as skyscrapers. In the final leg of our journey, we will visit Neukum Crater, which is one of the oldest places on Mars and has been around for at least 3.9 billion years. In the early history of Mars, a massive impact is thought to have produced this crater, according to scientists. It is still possible to see some of the pockmarks that were left by the accident. If you love conspiracies and myths, this is the destination for you. We are talking about the famous face of Mars, as well as the Martian pyramids. They are located in Cydonia and were first imaged by the Viking 1 and Viking 2 probes. This happened in 1976, and the resolution of the images is low enough to make even scientists begin to wonder if there was an ancient Mars civilization. The answer came several decades later when several satellites surveyed the area in detail and discovered that the pyramids and the face were in fact an optical illusion caused by light and shadow and low resolution. However, the Cydonia Mensae area is quite beautiful and even has historical value because of the films and stories it has inspired. After many rich experiences which took our breath away, our Martian excursion will come to an end. Now we will go back to our hotel room and enjoy the blue sunset showing from the window and after dark the amazingly bright Milky Way as we have never seen it before. Then we will go to sleep and maybe dream about Earth or new planets. Even once we are regularly visiting Mars, we will still have so much to learn about this fascinating world. Maybe the most exciting question is whether or not life existed in those ancient lakes in the first place, and whether or not it continues to exist now. This certainly will be a groundbreaking discovery, but perhaps most important will be if it is possible for human life to survive within this environment for a long time and build colonies. So far we are confident that, if technology continues to improve, somewhere in the future our Martian vacations will be more than just a fantasy. Thank you so much for watching this episode to the end. Tell us about your plans for Mars, and if you like it, please hit the thumbs up and subscribe.